Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and Happy New Year. Thank you so much for being part of my community and channel, because today is actually the 1 year anniversary that I uploaded my first video, and when I did, I didn't think anyone was going to watch, to be honest, and now there's so many of you and I'm really grateful, so thank you so much. I hope that 2021 brings you everything you've hoped for and more, all the love and joy and happiness that we were deprived of for this year. So I'm kicking off this year with a Q&A. You guys were pretty vocal about wanting a Q&A, which again I was quite surprised about, but I actually really like Q&As, so hopefully if you guys like this one we can do some more in the future and you can ask me stuff about me and the birds and other stuff. So I'm just going to get straight into it, and I've got Olive here who's coming up my shoulder, which is slightly concerning because she is still quite bitey, but okay, she's going my hair, so let's see how this goes. There are a few repeat questions, so I'm just going to go through the list and just start answering them. First one is, why did you decide to start a YouTube channel? I originally started because I wanted to educate people on great parrot care and high welfare standards, and just make that information really accessible and truthful as well, because there's a lot of misinformation on the internet, and I just wanted to put my experience out there because I do have a lot of experience. And the other reason is because I wanted to show that people who are visually impaired can live normal lives as well. If you didn't know already, if you couldn't tell by my giant glasses, I am visually impaired, but I do live a normal life, or as normal as you can be with 5 parrots. You know, I love video games, board games, snacks, loads of different things, being out and about, going to zoos, all the good stuff, and being visually impaired doesn't really get in the way of that. I just have to make different changes, and I just wanted to give a little insight. And if you haven't seen my sort of visual impairment series, I'll leave like a card at the top and a link to the playlist at the bottom if you'd like to learn a little bit more. The next question is, which of your current birds was your first bird? It's actually Chip and Fish. We got them together. They are brothers from the same clutch, and we got them a little while ago, and they are now 2 years old. And Olive is dancing apparently. Olive, Olive, Olive. Olive, Olive, Olive. She's obsessed with dancing, so she's going to do this while she's in the video, so I hope you enjoy. And the next question is, have you owned any other birds other than the birds you have already? Yes, I have. I actually had pet ducks growing up when I was a teenager, and I absolutely love them, and I highly recommend them as pets if you can give them the right care, of course, because they're so affectionate. They're like dogs. They run up to you and give you loads of cuddles and kisses, and I just think ducks are amazing pets and really underrated as well. The next question was a little bit random, but quite a few people asked me it, which is, are you ever going to own an Indian ringneck? And I would love to. One of the other questions that's asked a lot is, what is your dream bird? And to be honest, probably my top dream bird would be a male blue Indian ringneck. I just think they're so funny and full of personality and incredible birds, and I've always wanted one, but we don't have the space, which is why we are not doing that now. But hopefully at some point we'll be able to have Indian ringnecks. I'd love to have like one of each colour and just have like a little flock of them. They could just say peekaboo to each other all day, and I think it'd be really funny. But I'd also love to have a galah. I've always loved galahs. I think they're really interesting, and this might sound boring to some of you, but I'm not bothered. I would actually really love to have a little flock of chickens. Again, I think chickens are a really underrated pet. I don't think people realise just how fantastic they are and how smart they are. I've done training with chickens previously, and I just think they're amazing. I think they're so full of personality and you really get to know them. So they're probably my dream birds, which to some people, as I said, probably sounds really boring. They think, you know, you want a hyacinth macaw or an African grey. It's like, no, I'm quite happy with, you know, my ringnecks, galahs and chickens. The next question was, how did you get into birds? I actually studied a national diploma in animal management, and I also did an honours degree in animal behaviour and welfare, and all throughout that point I was kind of finding my feet and working out where I wanted to specialise. I don't really know where it started, to be honest. Like, maybe when I had my pet ducks, it just, something clicked in me that, wow, birds are so incredible and really underrated actually. There are 10,000 species of birds, and there are so many different incredible ones with different adaptations, and I just find them absolutely fascinating. And it just kind of spiraled from there, and I specialise in them. I've worked with so many different species. I've been really lucky, even really critically endangered species. So I've worked with all different kinds of birds, and I'm just astounded every time at how different they are and how interesting they are, and they deserve so much more love. Not just, you know, they're really fancy ones, but even the small brown ones that everyone kind of dismisses, they're still really interesting too. So Yeah, I don't really know where it started, but it's definitely going to continue. Yeah, Olive's gone to sit with David now because she was like pining for him, which was quite adorable. So let's get into the next one, which is do you mix pellets with chop, or do you give it separately, and do they eat it all? This is probably going to be my next educational video about pellets and my thoughts on them, because I have a lot of thoughts on pellets. We don't feed them like every day. It's kind of, we just use them for a bit of variety. We usually feed them, if we're going to feed them, in the evening, and we'll mix it up with some different bits and bobs, dried things, dried flowers, herbs, the kind of sort of treat foods, if you like, that they get for their evening meal. So morning meal is usually chop and sprouted seeds, that kind of thing. Then evening meal is kind of like the sort of more fun meal, I don't know, like with the herbs and the pellets and that kind of thing. Do they eat it all? No, because sometimes I do overfeed. I'm guilty of that. I'm not perfect. But no, they don't usually eat it all. The next question is, how old are you? I'm 29, so this year it's the big 3-0. My birthday is on the 25th of November. What are you doing in your life? Who knows? Your work, hobbies or interests. So David and I actually run a parrot, or bird in general, behaviour training and care consultation service. It's called Best Behaved Birds. I'll probably do a video on it at some point because I think it might help some people. We've already had quite a few consults already since we started, which is really awesome because we just love helping people, and we try as much as we can. In the comment section, of course, we always reply to comments. If you ask us questions, we'll do our very best. Sometimes some people need like that little bit of extra one-on-one help, which is where Best Behaved Birds comes in. So I'll leave some info in the description if you want to check us out. But that's what we're doing at the moment. Hobbies and interests, other than birds, because I think you can probably guess that birds and animals are my main thing. I love video games, board games, mythology, history, all that kind of good stuff. And my main hobby for a really long time was entering competitions, which sounds probably to some people a bit weird, but I won some cool stuff. But I don't do it too much anymore because with lockdown and everything and people being at home, people have kind of found the secret hobby, and now you get like 6,000 entries just to win like a single bottle of shower gel, and it's not really worth my time anymore. So maybe in the future I'll start that again. The next question is, how are you in general at the moment? And honestly, pretty awful. I'm not gonna like pretend that everything's great, because it's not. I have spoken about this on my channel before, and I'm not ashamed to do so, so I'm going to. I have anxiety and depression, and it's pretty bad at the moment. But we have found this really amazing YouTuber called Mark Freeman, and if you are struggling with your mental health, I would highly recommend checking out his channel. Again, I'll try and leave it in the description. He's such a breath of fresh air, and it's really helping us to get back on track. But yeah, things are difficult at the moment, but it's okay, it'll get better. Any plans on having hawks or owls in the future? I think you would make a good falconer. Thank you very much, ornithology dude. I wouldn't say no, never say never to that kind of thing. Obviously at this point in our lives, we are not in a position to have any birds of prey. I have worked with them in the past, owls and hawks and all kinds of amazing creatures, but not right now. I'd also be a little bit nervous, I guess, of flying them, because I wouldn't be able to see them when they go too far in the distance. But if I'm doing with David, then it's fine. But maybe, who knows. Who is your oldest parrot? Chip, Fish and Pickles are all 2 years old, so they're not very old at all. They're still babies, and they're definitely in their sort of adolescent stage where they're testing the boundaries all the time. You may even be able to hear Pickles, or maybe even see her. She's throwing her food bowl around. It's her new hobby. She likes to flip her food bowl and spill the food everywhere, and then she thinks she's going to get some more food, so that's always great fun. If you weren't able to have birds as pets, what kind of animals would you keep? I really like cats. I was always a dog person. For years and years I had a dog growing up, and then I worked in a cattery, and now I really like cats. I prefer pets that can be more kind of independent. I know parrots probably to some people don't seem like that, but we really encourage independent play with our birds. They're not out all day long. They do go home and they play with their toys, and they have foraging and enrichment activities to do. They're not kind of in our face 24/7, which for some parrots is the case, but not for ours. We're giving them that opportunity to be independent, and I think cats are very much like that. So probably cats. I wouldn't mind a dog, but I think they're like really in your face all the time, and again, I work with dogs a lot as well, so I have a lot of experience with loads of different animals. I don't know right now if I would want to have a dog. Other than that, I really love goats, little pygmy goats. I think that would be really fun, even though I've had some bad experiences with goats. If you haven't seen my video, a goat broke my wrist, a goat broke my glasses one time in front of a giant group of school children that I was doing a goat milking demonstration for, so that was embarrassing. But for some reason I still love them, so maybe goats, I don't know. Next up is, what is the biggest bird you have ever worked with? I suppose it depends on your definition of biggest. If we're talking about parrots in general, then I've worked with loads of different macaws. I think probably blue and golds are the biggest. I think they're bigger than militaries, if I'm correct. If not, they're military macaws. Wingspan would be Andean condors. Their wingspan's 10.5 feet, which is massive, and they're also really endangered as well, so it's a real privilege to get to work with them. In terms of like height, I've worked with flamingos, emu, rhea, that kind of thing. So yeah, I've worked with loads of different birds, so I don't know what would be considered the biggest, but those are some pretty big birds. I thought this question was really interesting, which is, how many birds is your limit? How many more birds would you get and then stop getting birds? It's a really difficult question to answer. Right now, where we are in our lives and where we live, we are definitely at our limit. We could not accommodate any more birds. If we were to move to a bigger place, I would love to have like a couple of aviaries with like untamed budgies or cockatiels or finches. You know, birds that really need a home. They need a really big space, but they aren't comfortable being in like a home environment. I think that'd be awesome, and the sky's the limit with how many birds you can have in a giant aviary. I think that in terms of indoor birds, we wouldn't be able to have any more until we can kind of bond up either two or all of our conures, because where they're single birds at the moment, while we're working on the bonding with all of them, they need a lot of like one-on-one attention, so we wouldn't be able to give one-on-one attention to so many different single birds. With chip and fish, who really thrive on the interaction they get from each other, they're so much easier because they really enjoy each other's company, and we're kind of an added bonus. Whereas for the single birds, who see us as their main source of kind of relationship and companionship, we would not be able to stretch ourselves far enough to accommodate any more birds right now, but we would love to have more birds in the future, so stick around, who knows. Next is, any bird species that you would never want to own and why? I did touch on this in, what video was it? I think it's my starter bird video. I would never want to have like a big cockatoo, like an umbrella cockatoo, Molokkan, Major Mitchell's, anything like that. I would not want to have them because they are extremely hard work. Even when you've got one-on-one time with them, you can just see from the amount of ones that are, you know, completely plucked bare and screaming all day. You know, they're really, really hard work, and I couldn't commit to just one bird, so they are definitely not up my street. And I also wouldn't want an endangered bird. For example, as I said in my previous video, I would not want a blue-throated macaw or an African grey because they are so endangered. There's only something like 300 blue-throated macaws left in the wild, and African greys are a restricted species through CITES, and you need loads of paperwork for them, and they are probably the most trafficked bird for the illegal pet trade in the world. So while I would never bash someone for having one, I would probably never want one myself, even though they're such incredible birds. But again, never say never. I don't know what kind of situation we're going to be in at another time, because, you know, I'd love to have a huge rescue centre and build giant aviaries and have all these birds and give them a really awesome, amazing existence. But I don't know. Right now, those are the ones I wouldn't want, but we'll have to wait and see. Next is, do you adopt your birds or do you buy them? We bought chip and fish as babies. I have spoken about this as well. I do not in any way try and bash people who want to go down the breeder route, as long as you're going for a reputable breeder. There's nothing wrong with that if you're either inexperienced or that's the right kind of situation for you. We do have 3 rescue conures, and they are hard work. As I've said in my other videos, wanting a rescue is amazing, and you're doing a great job because you're giving a bird a forever home who may not have had one before. But it is not easy. It's not just, oh, I'm going to take this rescue bird and everything's going to be brilliant, we're going to skip off into the sunset. It is hard work, let me tell you. Each of our rescue conures have their own quirks, and we're still, even with Olive and Scampy, who've been with us for a while now, they're by no means kind of chilled and settled. There's still behavioural issues we're working on. You may be able to hear Olive in the background. She's like screaming for no reason. So that's always good fun. So yeah, that's our situation, and as I said, I've never bashed someone for going to a breeder if that was the right situation and it's a good breeder, and I've never bashed someone who wants to go down the rescue either. It's just personal preference and what your individual situation is. So yeah. The next question made me laugh. What are the worst habits of your birds and what are the best? Worst habits would be in summer waking me up at 5 AM every single day. And also they scream and then I come in and say good morning and then they go back to bed, so it's purely just to get me out of bed, just to wind me up, which is quite funny. As I said, Pickles is enjoying throwing her food bowl around. Scampy is very food aggressive with his bowl, which is great fun. Olive is scared of the dark, so she still has to sleep in our room because we can't have so many lights on in here because then these birds won't sleep, and it's, oh, where do I stop? Oh, and Pickles has this really challenging behaviour where she'll be really lovely with me and cuddling, or she'll be sitting on top of my head while I'm doing something, and then she will just do a complete 180 flip and she'll crawl down my face and she will bite my ears as hard as she physically can and won't let go. So love that. The best habits, probably when it gets a little bit darker and the birds are settling, is when Fish starts practicing his talking and his singing. It's so funny. He's like half asleep, but he's just really practicing all of these different songs that he knows and chatting and talking to the Alexa, and it's really, really funny. Chip is desperate for scritches all the time and will really ram his head into your hand to like demand that you scritch him there and then and stop what you're doing. Pickles chats, all of them chat really. I mean, they're all absolutely adorable and we love them to bits and they're so individual, but I think I'll probably make a separate video on that and talk about sort of more of their quirks that we've discovered from them, and I think that'll be quite fun. So that brings me to the end of the video. Thank you so much to all of you who submitted your questions. I really enjoyed doing this Q&A and I think they're really fun. So if you enjoyed it too, let me know in the comments and I can do another one in the future. So again, thank you so much for being part of my channel and part of this community. I really, really appreciate every single one of you, and I do genuinely mean that. There will be so much more content coming this year, loads of educational bits and pieces. We can do more Q&As. I'm doing the React to Subscribers series and loads of other bits, but if there is something specific you would like to see from my channel video wise, then please do leave it in the comments below because I'd love to hear from you. I do have loads of ideas stacked up, but I would really like your input as to what you would like to see on this channel. And I hope that, as I said, this year is a really, really happy and special year for you, and I hope that all of your dreams come true. So again, thank you for watching, take care and see you later.